Hello and welcome to All Things Foster, a place for coffee, connection, and community. Guys, we have a great guest that you'll probably recognize. She was on here about a year ago. We're going to get to Jazlyn here in just a second, but before we do, I want to take a minute to tell you about Ennis Inspections. Ennis Inspections is a great home inspector, and because when you're buying a home, what you don't know can hurt you. And so whether you're buying or selling or just want peace of mind, Morgan with Ennis Inspections provides detailed, thorough, and honest inspections that you can trust. From the roof to the foundation, he can help you feel confident about the decision on your biggest investment. So schedule your inspection with Ennis Inspections today at ennisinspections.com. That's ENNIS inspections.com, or give Morgan a call at 806-672-1928. Again, Morgan is a very great supporter of our organization, and so he's a very trustworthy guy. So if you're looking for buying a house, definitely give him a call, and he'll help you out. So Jazlyn, thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. It's been about a year since you were on. I think you were our second episode, and so I'm super grateful that you're coming back. So a year ago, you were kind of in a different place.
Yes, way different. I was in a period of transition. I was trying to figure out what my next steps were. I just aged out of Amber's program, and so I was trying to figure out what the next steps for me at 21 was.
Yeah. And so this is kind of a story of some growth, some development, and going from being in the program to helping lead the program. I mean, that's just in a year. That's a lot of growth in just a year. So let's kind of go back a little bit. What were some of the biggest challenges that you were facing as you're turning 21? You can't continue to be in the in the program. What was life looking like at that point?
So I was in the process of trying to find a place for me in Kalani to live.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the process of trying to find a job that was better because I wasn't, the job I had, it wasn't working at all. And at first, actually, when I was on y'all's podcast, I didn't have a job yet. It was after the podcast that I got a job at a nursing home, and it was overnight, so it wasn't really working with the baby.
Oh yeah.
And it was just really hard, and so I was really stressed. I was trying to find a car, a reliable transportation, because I didn't have one at the time. So it was a really rough transition. It was really hard. I was not too sure what my future was going to look like at that point.
Yeah, looking for a job, and then you get a job, and it's not a great job, but then trying to figure out, how to be there for Kalani and all the things. What do you think was kind of your emotional state? Where you were at?
Oh, I was 100% chaotic all of the time. I was constantly sleepy because I was working overnights, and I didn't have her in daycare yet because that was a really big process we were dealing with. And so I was really struggling. I was breaking down all of the time, and it was really, really hard. I was calling Amber constantly, just crying. And she would just tell me, "It's okay. We're going to figure this out, Jazz. It's going to be good."
So even though you're aged out of the program, Amber's still there supporting you.
Yes, 100%. If it wasn't for Amber, I don't know where I would be right now, definitely. She continued to help me throughout that process. She helped me get a HUD house, and I got my first house. I got settled in there. And then she started talking to me about AmeriCorps and possibly working for her. And so when she gave me this idea, I was like, oh, let me think about this, because it would probably be something that I enjoy, because this is my passion. And it would work with my schedule. I could take Kalani to work with me. It would just be so much better. And so we decided that I was going to work for her. And so I applied for AmeriCorps and did the application, the interview, and all of that, and got it. And so now I work for Amber and for Fostering Independence.
So when do you think there was a shift, in where you're at with all the things that are going on? Just let's remind our listeners, before you came to Amber, you lived at ACH, and then you turned 18, and then what?
Yes, I became homeless. I was living with my boyfriend, became pregnant, was kicked out of that house. It was just a lot of instability, a lot of not knowing what my tomorrow was going to look like. It was very hard. It was a very, very, very low place in my life. I didn't know whether I would get out of this rut. I felt like I couldn't get out of this rut. I felt like I was failing Kalani as a mother. I felt like I wasn't doing what I needed to do. I brought her into this world not being ready for her. And so that mom guilt kicked in like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just in a very deep, deep place. And my mental health was low key not very good. And so I got back on medications, and I was just trying to figure out what I needed to do because I have a baby now. I have to make sure that she is good no matter what, above all. And so I just really decided, I was like, okay, something has to change, something has to give. And so. So
I remember the story, you were in Lubbock with your biological mom.
Yes.
And then there's
we had
disagreement or something, I can't remember,
At this point in time, my mom was a very heavy alcoholic, and that's what caused our relationship to just constantly butt heads because everybody says I'm my mother's daughter. I'm just like her. And so when we are having conversation and it's like two people arguing at the same person, and so it just wasn't getting anywhere. And she told me to get out the car at Lubbock, and I did. And I'm pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have nothing but my Crocs and pajamas and a crop top,
Jeez.
and my phone. And she ended up turning that off a week later. And so, because she paid my phone at that time, and so it was just like really stressful. So I had to sign myself back into extended foster care.
Yeah.
And so that's basically after 18, I signed myself back into the system. And this was like, at the time in my life, it was kind of like, dang, Jazz, like you went this far and now we're taking a step back. And so it was a little of like, dang, I don't want to do this, but this is the only option. Like there is nowhere else for me to go. And so unfortunately, I did. I signed myself back into CPS, and I went to another SO program. They just weren't the fit for me. They were amazing, just not for me. It wasn't for me. And so that's when I moved with Jaden, and me and Jaden were doing really good, and he was helping me. And then I was like, okay, well, we're kind of getting a little toxic at this area. We just had a baby. We both weren't ready. Like this was something that was not planned. Absolutely. Sure. I moved out of Amarillo, and then I found out I was pregnant. So it was like, dang it. And so me and Jaden decided like, we probably need to co-parent for a little bit and figure out our life. And so we were co-parenting, and it was just really, really, really stressful. And I was still trying to find, a car because Jaden was my transportation, or his family was my transportation. And I'm so, so, so thankful that they've been there because they are a big part of Kalani's life and my life. They're a big part of my village as well now. And my mom now, she is completely alcohol free. Our relationship is so, so much better. She's actually coming down here next weekend for her birthday. And so I'm very thankful that like our relationship got better because it was like really rocky in the beginning.
So then you end up with Amber, and you're just getting all this support and things like that. Just remind our listeners kind of how living with Amber kind of helped you stabilize.
Yes. Amber was the place where I was able to breathe again. Is what my favorite thing to say is because at that moment in time, I felt like I was drowning and I could not get above water. As much as I tried, it was just like every single time I was just getting pulled back down and getting pulled back down. And so when I found out about Amber's program, it was actually a little bit probably too late, but Amber was so amazing and she advocated for my behalf and kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. Because my case girl was like, she's about to be 21. There's no point. And Amber's like, yes, there is. Give me this kid. Give me this girl. And she continued to fight for me. And I got into her program. And I believe about 5 days later, I turned 21 and aged out. And so with that, if I was 21 and aged out, she was still able to help me afterwards. And so that's why she was pushing and pushing and pushing. But in this time, Amber helped me a lot with Kalani. When I didn't know what to do, when Kalani, like her first time getting colicky, I didn't know. Like she was just screaming.
What is colic?
And I was like, Amber, like I don't know what to do. Like she's just crying, she won't stop. And Amber came over. Amber came over and she helped me burp her, and she gave me like gripe water, and she was like, it's okay, it's normal. This is a part of baby. So Amber was there from the littlest things to the biggest things. was just like I couldn't calm myself down. I'm just very overstimulated. I'd call Amber and just talk to her.
Yeah.
And she was just my supportive person all the way around. I knew that if I needed somebody, Amber was going to be there.
Yeah. So then as you got you aged out and you've got a home now and things begin to get a little bit better, what kept you going when everything's just tough?
Kalani. She is definitely my everything. Every time that I'm like just in a rough place, I'm like, I always think back. She didn't ask to be in this world, but I put her in this world. So she deserves the life that I can give her. And so if that means, getting my butt up and doing what I need to do for her, then that's what I'm going to have to do, because she deserves the best mommy in the world and she deserves the best life in the world. And that's what I'm going to give her, because I wasn't able to have a very, easy childhood. I didn't have, parents all the time. I didn't have, just that overall support of a family. I have a lot of pain and a lot of hurt when it comes to that, and I have a lot of abandonment issues.
Sure.
But when it came to Kalani, I'm like, I will never, ever, ever make her feel like mommy didn't want her, daddy didn't want her, that her family didn't want her, because we love her. You are my center of my world. I revolve around you. And so I think that's what I go back to, is just making sure that she has the life I didn't get.
Yeah. It's so true that there's a generational cycle that happens, and trying to break that cycle is hard.
It's so
hard.
hard.
It's very hard, but you're doing it. You're doing it, and that's so awesome. So where did things really start to click, do you think?
Probably so I started working for Amber, I believe was like October, and that's probably when everything like fell into order. It's like, like when you put one puzzle piece and then another one automatically goes in, it just kind of like falls
Lines
in line.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it went. I started working for Amber. I bought my car, and I already had my house at this point. So like that one is obviously checked off. But when I started working for Amber, I was able to buy a car within like a couple months. And so I was very happy. And then just everything just started really just taking off. I just became... overall, like my mental health became happier. I was sound. I got Kalani in daycare full time. And so that was like, I think the biggest help, because I love my baby, but you can go to school from 9 to 5 and, mommy can have her time separate. But yeah, I think that's when everything just started to click into place.
Right.
October.
Yeah. So is there this kind of light on moment that says, okay, my nervous system's calm and we're gonna make it? Was there some like just spot where you can look back and say, okay, that's when I realized we're gonna be okay?
Yep. I definitely think it was probably November around Thanksgiving. I just was sitting back and I was in my off day and I was cleaning up my house, and I sat down and I really like thought about it. I was like, wow, I have come a long way. Like look at my house, look at my car, my daughter's healthy, happy. Me and Jaden's relationship was very healthy and happy. And so I think then that's where everything clicked in, when I started to think about where I was a year ago, when I wasn't like stressing out when I'm sitting down. My brain, I could sit down at my house and it was clean and it was fine. And I was like, oh, I'm okay. Like I'm happy, I'm healthy. Kalani's happy and healthy. Jaden's happy, healthy. My relationship with Amber has, grown tremendously. And so I think that's where I was like, okay, I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. I'm not going to, fumble again. And if I do, Amber's right there to pick me back up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so, we talk about being in community and needing that connection. And really and truly that is, I feel like, and I think the research backs me up on this as far as psychologically, developmentally, and all the things, but having a community and connection, that's where healing happens. That's where growth happens.
Yes.
And so, having Amber and the program and having that community that is going to support you and stand with you.
Yep.
I mean, that makes the difference.
I had that felt safety with Amber too, which is super, super important
It
in
is.
our line of work. It's just really important when you're working with kids with, trauma or whatever it is. That felt safety is super, super important.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made me put my walls down and made okay, Amber's a good person. She can help me. Because I do have a lot of abandonment issues with my biological family and even some of my adoptive family. I don't really have a relationship with some of them as much as I want to. And so I have that in the back of my head, well, they're just going to leave anyways. So I've always, when the new person comes, I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? And how long are you going to be here for? And what do I need to give you in this time frame so that I can get what I need, And that was always my mentality. And so when Amber came around, it was like, hold on, you're a little different. I feel safe with you. I feel like I can trust you. I feel like I can lean on you. And then that consistency of her being there is what made me like, okay, Amber's that person that I can lean on. And I don't think Amber will ever leave me. And so I think that's probably what helped me the most is just making sure that she was always consistent. And she was, a good, consistent person, not someone that was, consistently tearing me down or consistently doing whatever it is. She was consistently making sure I was, okay and bringing me up.
Yeah. Yeah, that connection, that felt safety. Robin, we give out her book and our placement packages, and when your nervous system is in protection mode, where it's I don't feel safe, nothing around me is familiar or anything like that, we can't grow, we can't change, we can't heal when that's where our nervous system is at all the time. And how exhausting it is to have your nervous system just on alert 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Yeah. I mean, it's exhausting.
It is, yeah. It's a lot on someone's mental health. It's a lot on someone in general. But yeah, I definitely do agree.
Yeah. So as far as your personal work, I mean, have you done some counseling and things that have helped?
I got back on medicine, so that was my biggest thing.
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't want to be on medicine. I've been on medicine my whole life. I've always felt like when you're in CPS and you tell them you have a problem, they're like, here you go, here's a med, here's a med, here's a med. And so I've always been on a lot of medication, and so I've always hated meds. And so when I aged out, I was like, I'm not going to be on meds no more. I don't need these. And I realized dramatically, I was like, oh, baby, I need these. Get me back on my meds immediately. And so it was like a process. I did get back on my meds, and it was able to help my brain slow down because my brain goes 1,000 miles per hour all the time. And so I'm always thinking of stuff. And so sometimes I overlook details because of my brain just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then I realized my highs were very high and my lows were very low. And so I was like, this isn't right. I need to fix this. And so I got back on medication. I started therapy again. And I think that's what helped me because it wasn't Amber I was talking to. It wasn't, somebody that knows everybody in my family or everybody might think. It was someone that knew only me and knew my story because she used to be my therapist a long, long, long time ago. Yeah. And so I got back and connected with her. And I think that's what made everything okay because I had an outside person that I can, get all my feelings out to.
Yeah.
And Amber can be that person, but it's a little different with her being my boss.
Right.
So,
yeah, sure.
I'm like, yes, she's still my best friend, but she's also my boss. And so I have to remember, that boundary. And so I love my therapy. It helps so much because I'm able to just, word vomit everything that I want to word vomit. And then it's all out of my brain. It's all out of my system. And I can move on and I can figure out the next step. So, yeah, I think that probably is what helped both meds and therapy. It was just a combination of them both.
Yeah. I mean, when you've been through what you've been through, you need many different mechanisms to help heal from it and be able to move forward.
Yes.
Right? The trauma never goes away. But we can learn to overcome it and reverse the effects of it, right? The trauma is not going to go away, but there is healing with it. So what does your day look like now?
So my day consists of I wake up and I take Kalani to daycare, and it's right on 10th, so it's so perfect because we have our shared housing on 10th, and so I'm basically like a personal Uber is what I say, because I help transport them to and from work, to and from school, to and from job appointments, or just doctor's appointments, job interviews, grocery store, just transporting like them where they need to go and stuff.
Yeah.
I also just do a lot of stuff that Amber needs help with. So run errands, do stuff and give her a little bit more free time so she can do her work on the computer with charting and all that stuff. And so before I came into the program, Amber was doing this all by herself.
Right.
And so we have a lot of kiddos now. We have a bunch. And so it was like, tearing Amber a little bit too thin.
Sure.
And so now with me there, it's more like I'm a big sister more than a staff. And so they see me as like, okay, older sister Jazz is telling me to do this. Let's go ahead and do this. Instead of, oh, my staff is telling me to do this. Why is she telling me that?
Right.
And so they do see me as a big sister. And so they come and talk to me all the time. When they feel like they don't know what to do, and they're just like down in the dumps, they call me. And so it's like a full round circle for me, because
absolutely.
I'm like, that used to be me a year ago. I was calling Amber for everything. And now I'm at a place in my life where, kids are like, Jazz, like, I just need someone to talk to. And I'm like, go ahead. Yeah. I'm here. Like, let me listen. I'm just going to listen. I'm just going to sit here. You can scream, you can yell, you can cry, and I'm just going to be here. And so I think it warms my heart knowing that I can be that person that Amber was for me.
Absolutely.
And it's just like a really big full round circle for me.
Yeah. Well, and your experience, your lived experience, people that don't understand, they don't know.
It's hard to talk to somebody that doesn't know what you've lived through.
Yeah.
Because it's not that maybe you can give the wrong advice or say the wrong thing. But sometimes that ends up happening because you're like, you don't know exactly what it's like. And so I think for the girls coming to me and asking me questions and telling me stuff, and or even them seeing that I was a graduate of this program and where I'm at now, because I've had a kid tell me that. She was like, Jazz, I can't wait to be grown like you. And I was like, well, I'm still working on stuff, but yes, it was like, oh, like you really think that I've come a long way. And so, and I really have, I've come a long way. But I think really just being that supportive person that also have like went through the same thing as in and can understand a little bit better than someone that hasn't been through that is very important for them, because they feel like their feelings are validated. They feel like, like Jazz knows what I'm going through, so maybe she can help give me something that maybe helped her or something that, didn't help her, whatever it was. I can give them that as like a peer-to-peer level instead of, staff to peer. And so I think that it's important for that as well.
Yeah. And I think that there's hope. They probably see you and they say, that can be me. I got to do the work, but that can be me. Yeah. So that gives them that support and that hope that things can get better. It's possible.
I always tell them that they're not their story and they just have to overcome their story, just like me. There was a kiddo that I told her my full story, like my full story, because I just felt like I needed to. And she was like, you know what, Jazz? Like, you just made me realize that I could go through all of the same stuff and I could still overcome them because you overcame them. Yeah. And I was like, of course. Like, you can overcome anything. You just have to have that, that survivor's mentality instead of that, like, victim. And because a lot of our kids are just, I'm a victim. And for so long, I was in that, in that stage. A year ago, I was in that mentality of that victim mentality mindset. And so I couldn't push forward. And so my biggest thing is getting them into that mindset of I'm a survivor and I'm not a victim. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I like to teach them, is that your story does not define you. Yeah. It may shape your future, but it does not define you. And so that's just one of the biggest things I tell them, because I've been through a lot of stuff, but that doesn't define what my future is like. Exactly. There, like I said, there is hope. There's hope to overcome. Yes. And so talk. You also are part of TNOYS. Yes. So I work with Amber, and then I do an internship with TNOYS, which consists of Zooms most of the time. And so I do Zoom. Just so you know, Texas Network of Youth Services. That's what TNOYS stands for. Yes, so it is all the way. We're all in Texas. So there's people in Austin, people in Houston, people in Dallas, people in Amarillo. It's a big group of us. And so basically TNOYS, I do the YELK. It's an internship. So basically we do a lot of Zooms and we talk about a lot of policy meetings, a lot of policy stuff. We advocate for change in the 5, districts, which is like youth and homelessness, foster care, JJ, all of that stuff. And so it's a lot. And all of us, the youth in this program is basically who have lived experience in these, 5 levels of systems. And so basically what their goal is they take these kids that have lived through this and they teach them to be advocates and they teach them to be lawmakers and law changers. And that's what we do. We actually have a really big conference coming up in July. And I'm so scared. I'm so nervous because we're going to be speaking in front of like 500 people. But that's what they've been training us for all year. And so I'm really excited. Me and my group will be doing a workshop that we're leading ourselves on, the impact of youth homelessness and aging out of the foster care system.
Yeah, because at the conference or at the I can't remember what it wasn't a conference. The couple months ago at the foundation, I think they said, if memory serves, that kiddos that age out of foster care have a 2 in 3 chance of being homeless within the first year, if I remember the numbers correctly.
Yep, and it really sucks because like 20% of them are homeless immediately at 18.
Right.
So it's just like something that we have to really, really, really advocate for. It's crazy being in this with all of these people from everywhere. Our stories are so similar. And so that's why they do this. That's why they do this work, to advocate and get it out there about all of the SIL programs. And so that's actually why I decided to be a part of TNOYS. I went to a listening session for them. I didn't even know nothing about them. They reached out to Amber about a listening session and said, bring some kids that have lived experience in aged out youth. And so Amber was like, Jazz, I have something. Let's go do this. And so I went with her and I did this. And they were like, oh my gosh, like you speak really well. You're a big advocate. And I was like, oh yeah, like I love this. And so they're like, you know what? Here's a job. And so they slid me the job stuff and I applied and I got it. And it was really amazing that I got it because I applied out of like, I think it was like 80 people in all of Texas and only like 12 of us got it. And so I was very, very thankful that I was one of the people that was chosen.
Yeah.
And so they told me that they really liked the fact that I'm a big advocate for myself and others. That's just because I've always been. I have a loud voice and I will use it when I, is needed to.
Yeah. What if there's a lawmaker on here or somebody that helps influence, what do you want them to know?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a big question.
Yes. I really think the biggest thing that a lot of them need or maybe should do is I really think a lot of them need to go spend time in the programs that they like work with or deal with their laws that are changing. Because I know a lot of them, they change these laws and they think these laws are good for these kids, but they've never met the kids that this law is going to be affecting.
Right.
And so I think it'd be really good for a lot of lawmakers to hear from the kids and hear from the people that are actually having to deal with this law. And that's what we do at TNOYS. And so I think that that's probably the biggest thing that people need to know is just probably meet the people that your law is going to change, because this law can change their whole world. Like point proven, there was a law that I believe is still in effect that we're still trying to get it changed. It's been a couple years that I've actually been trying to fight this one, but there's a law that if you are in CPS and you have like sexual abuse trauma in your past and you go spend a night with a friend or you go to your friend's house, your parent or your house parent or whatever, they legally have to tell, that parent about your past and about your trauma. And I'm like, no, like that's not right. That should be my place to tell them, because now, they're looking at me with pity.
Right.
Now they're looking at me with like, I'm so sorry. And like, I understand if, their perpetrator is still out in the open. My perpetrator's in jail and has been in jail for years. So what was the point of you telling my best friend's dad that, my dad did this to me? But now he doesn't look at me the same. Now he treats me different. And so that is one of the biggest laws that I'm still trying to push to fight and change, just because it affected me in a whole way that I never would have expected, because I was best friends with this girl for years and she knew my story and her mom knew my story, but her dad didn't, because, obviously. So when my house parents had to tell him, it was like a dramatic change in our relationship. I just never went over to their house again after that, because I was just so embarrassed and so like he looked at me with pity. And that's not what I wanted. I tell my story to tell you, like, this is what I went through, this is what I overcame, and this is why I am the way I am. It doesn't give CPS the right to tell your story for you, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that would just probably just understand that your laws really do affect our lives and affect, you know, everything that goes around it and even our relationships. And so I think that's probably what I would say to some lawmakers.
Yeah, absolutely. Aside from that, because I agree that, you know, your story, I mean, it's personal. And
It's sentimental, and we don't want to share our story to everybody.
No.
It's not something I want to tell like someone I just met, or someone that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with,
Yeah.
or just, you know, my friend's parents. Like your story is very, very, very close to you. It's very dear to you. It's very sentimental to you. It's very emotional.
And there's also a lot of shame.
Yes.
There's a lot of shame for especially sexual assault. Really, all you know, the person who's experienced those traumas tend to believe that there's something wrong with them, which is why this happened, right? And so there's a lot of shame that's associated with having been through these traumas, and so just throwing that out there to everybody.
Or maybe even opening a wound that they, you know, they closed and they healed from in the past.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it did for me within that situation, because I have come a long way in my sexual assault journey and all of that stuff. And so I've come a long, 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 long way. Like you said, there is that guilt. And for a long time, it was always like, I did that. It was
Something
my
wrong
fault.
with me.
I asked for it, maybe. And so it took years and years and years of therapy to understand that it was not my fault, that I did not ask for it, and that what I did was not wrong. And so for me, when that was like said, it was like a Band-Aid that was just ripped off. And I just took
Salt
years,
in the wound.
like putting that Band-Aid on, and you just ripped it off in one 10-minute conversation.
Right. So other than that, what is one thing that you would change with regards to the foster care system, do you think? I know there's a lot.
There's so much. I think the biggest thing is really listening to the kids, because I feel like a lot of caseworkers, a lot of providers, a lot of different things, they don't actually listen to what the kid is actually needing or saying. A lot of them take their, you know, disruptive behaviors as them acting out. And maybe that might be a call of help and you're not understanding that. And so I think the biggest thing is I really feel like a lot of people need to be more trained and trauma-informed, like care. I think that's the biggest thing that I even continue to advocate in TNOYS for, is trauma-informed care for providers and, you know, and CPS and all of, you know, the systems that involve these kids. Is a lot of them don't understand everything when it comes to that. And so there's a lot of stuff that trauma does to your brain that you can't see or can't even think to understand until you learn about it. And even for me, I learned some new stuff about that in a training at Boys Ranch. And so I think just more training for that would probably be the biggest thing that I'd push for.
Yeah, I get it. So we kind of talked about this, but fostering independence really helped you get over that threshold and get some stability and some consistency in relationship and stuff like that. So where do you think you would be today without fostering independence?
I probably would still be underwater, probably still not being able to get my breath. I don't think that I would be working in the CPS field. I think that I probably would have settled for less and just got a job that I could support my family for. I definitely think I would not be as happy and healthy as I am today, just because I had that support of Amber and that community and that village around me. So I definitely think I'd probably be in a very, very low place, and I'd probably not have my daughter low.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was not able to provide for her. I was not able to do what I needed to do. And so, God forbid, I probably wouldn't have her. And so I'm very thankful that my life has changed dramatically and I am now stable, and now Kalani is stable. I think that's probably the best thing for me, is that she's stable, because she doesn't deserve an unstable life like I had. I don't ever want to give her, you know, a rough start to her life or just a rough life, because that's what I had. I want her to have what I wasn't able to give. And so it's really weird because I take her to McDonald's a lot to get Happy Meals, and it's like my own like personal reasons. I know like McDonald's is always not good for the kids, but I never got to go get Happy Meals. I never got to, go get, that fun stuff. I never got to collect the toys and collect the books and do all of that because I didn't have a quote unquote normal childhood. And so for me, when I take her to McDonald's, it's like healing a piece of me. I get more excited about the toys than she does. And so I think it's just like a piece of me that heals. And so just being able to give her the life that I wasn't able to. Like, we go to the park all the time. I never, ever was able to go to the park as a kid like that. We could go play outside, but, like, I wasn't able to go to the park and slide and swing and have fun and do all these things. And so being able to give Kalani the life that I wasn't able to, I think that just makes me whole. It makes me full. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is right and is just good,
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's... Man, you can see the impact that fostering independence is having, but then also, you have to take some pride, I think, in your story too, because I mean, yes, they helped and provided a safe place and all those things, but you had to do the work too. And
I had to be willing to accept their help,
Yep.
and that was something that I had to learn. Just because, like I said, I have a lot of those abandonment issues. So I'm like, when people are like, when they ask for help, I'm like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really hard for me to ask for help when I'm
Sure.
in these low places. And so I had to learn that it was okay to ask for help and it was okay to accept help.
Right.
And so I do agree. And I have come a long way in so many ways. Fostering independence has helped me professionally as well. I had a lot of, and I'm still working on it, but I had a lot of like time management issues. And so this has really helped me get my time management in order. It's really helped me get set up for the future and just that professional aspect in that professional world, because Amber, yes, she's my, supportive friend and stuff, and like my supportive person. But she's also like my boss, and so she comes from me at a boss perspective too. Like, come on, Jazz, you know better. You're not supposed to be doing that. And so I love having her as both of those things.
Yeah.
And I also I have a mentor now that's different from last time, and it's actually Amber's mom. And so we call her Lolly. She's amazing. She's
kind of a grandma for your
yeah,
daughter.
they say I'm very much like Lolly, and so we go good together. And so she's also my other person now that I call Amber less now because she's more of my boss. And so now I just call Lolly and I meet with Lolly.
Yeah.
And so it's just another
the
piece of.
Yeah. The thing is, not everybody that's been in your situation is making that decision. Right. So what do you tell someone that was in your situation? What would you speak to them that maybe you needed to hear, or that you think would help get them to open up and start to grow and change?
If I'm like speaking to the kid, I think that I would tell them that everything is going to be okay. I know it feels like, you're underwater and you can't breathe, but let me be that oxygen for you. Let me be, that step so that you can step and get up. And let me be that person that when you fall, I can pick you back up. Let me be that person that when you feel like you cannot advocate for yourself no more, I will use my voice and I will advocate for you. And so I think my biggest thing I would tell them is just, it's not wrong to accept help. It's okay to accept help. Probably just give yourself some slack. You've been through so much in your life and you have overcome so much, and you just need to give yourself some slack. I think that's what it helped me, was when they're like, Jazz, you're okay. Like, look how far you have come. Like, you keep bringing up all of the stuff that's wrong and all of the stuff that's bad, but look at all the stuff that you've done right. Look at all the stuff that you've done good. And I think that's what was helped me do a 360, is like, oh, you're right. Like, my past does not define me. I've done all of this too. I have, putting in that work and really give myself that, encouragement is probably what was best for me. And so just give yourself a pat on the back every now and then, because you've come so far and you're so strong already, and you can be so much stronger with help.
Yeah. What would you tell a foster parent that's out there listening to your story, that maybe they don't have your experience, and they're bringing a kiddo into their home that has had your experience? What would you tell them?
My biggest thing I would tell them is be patient. It takes time. You have to really be consistent and give them that felt safety. And once they feel safe, you will see they will come to you. They will be drawn to you because you have that felt safety. A big thing I would say to them is also remember that they have a lot of trauma in their life, and that this affects them in every decision that they make. As soon as that they wake up, from the time they laid like their head on that pillow, it affects them. Because it affected me a lot. And I know that these behaviors may seem erratic, or, like this kid is just being pure out defiant.
Yeah.
It's most of the time that's not what they're meaning. They're screaming for help, but this is the only way they know how to scream for help. And so really just be so trauma-informed care is so important. I don't know how many times I have to stress that. It's just because what trauma does to your brain is just crazy.
Yeah.
And so learning and knowing what it does. So when you bring this kid into your life, you can go from, instead of like, oh my God, this kid just does not listen to me. This kid just constantly yelling at me. She's just so angry all the time. Instead of doing that, hey, Jazz, I understand that you're angry. I understand that you need some time. If you need something, I'm right here. You're not alone. You're not wrong. I'm going to let you have your emotions. I'll be right here when you need me.
Yeah.
I think that is so, so important, because most of the time, like I'm saying, they're screaming like help, help. And that is the only way they know how to help or ask for help, because they've been in, foster homes or lockdown facilities or shelter after shelter after shelter, because that was me.
Yeah.
I was in constant places. And so I think just remembering that what they've been through still affects them, and what they've been through also does not define them, and help them know that it does not define them, help them heal, get them in therapy, get them in, whatever that they need. But really you just have to listen to the kid, listen, truly, truly listen.
Yeah.
And when I mean listen, not hear what they're saying. No, listen to what they're actually saying, words in between words, read between the lines, because I know when I was that kid, I didn't ask for help in the right way.
Yeah.
I would say it in codes, or like, hey, I'm struggling, and then just switch to another subject fast. And so that they forget that I just said that. But really, truly try to understand what your kid's saying is probably what I would tell to any foster care. But also, don't be too hard on yourself, because you are changing this kid's life, and it is not easy for the parents as well. And so also just give yourself a pat on the back, and knowing that you're doing whatever that you can to help this kid in the future would probably be both of those things that I would tell them.
Absolutely. Remind our listeners, if you think, I think you kind of guessed last time, how many high schools did you go to?
Oh, so much. I don't even remember now, but I went to constant. It was like freshman year, I think I went to about 4 or 5. Sophomore year, I only went to about 2, I think. Some of these include charters. Most of them include charter schools, because I'm at lockdown facilities or RTCs or places that we don't have outside contact with or stuff, because most of the time everybody in the place went to the same school in the same place. And so most of these were charter schools. I think 3 of them were actual high schools. And most of it, and probably about like 12 to 15. Like I was constantly moving. I was always behind in school. Yeah. And this frustrated me, because I've always been like very, very smart when it comes to school. And I've always been the top of my class. And I was no longer the top of my class anywhere, because I was just so far behind everywhere. Like one school was teaching me this and another school was teaching me this. Yeah. Most of the charter schools, you work online. It's just stuff you do online. So like it messed up a lot of my credits. I had to redo several credits that I'm like, bro, I already did this twice. Yeah. And so it really messed up a lot. And so just moving and not being able to make friends probably was hard too, just because I'm like, why would I talk to you when I'm probably going to leave in a month? Like, as soon as I get close to this person, I'm going to have to leave, or I'm going to have to move, or I run away. And so it just was never, ever, I didn't have any consistency until I became an adult, unfortunately. Yeah. And that sucks. But that's what it was. I mean, I finally had consistency when I moved to the children's home. But before then, it was just, I was such an angry person. I was angry at the world. I was angry at myself. I was angry at my family. I was angry at God. I was just so angry because I'm like, why? Like, I've gone through so much in my life already as a kid. Like, can you just give me the smallest break? And that was always my thing. I was just so angry. Like, do you not think I've went through enough already? Like, you trying to give me some more? And so I would always have to remember, and I used to get so mad at this sentence. People would be like, well, God gives his strongest things to his toughest, like, soldiers. And I'm like, I don't want to be your soldier. Take me off the list. Like, I'm done. I'm not strong. And so I had to, like, realize, like, okay, I know that I've been through a lot, but this is why I am the way I am. If I didn't go through anything, I would not change anything in my story, from my sexual abuse to my CPS time to anything, to my adoptive family. I would not change one single bit, because that is why I am the person I am today. It's why I am able to advocate for myself and others, because I made myself that promise that I would never, ever, ever let anybody silence my voice, because in that time, I didn't have a voice. I was very timid. I was a very little, reserved child, and that was taken advantage of. And I think I made that promise to myself probably as soon as I stepped foot in CPS, when I was about 14 years old. I made the promise that I would never let anybody silence my voice, and I would use my voice for others that can't use theirs, because mine's loud enough for both. Yeah. And so it took a long time to learn, and a long process of therapy. I think that, I don't know, I wouldn't change anything. Yeah.
So what if there's a community member out there that's resonating with your story and wants to do something? What kind of things can they do?
Yes, so anything that you want to help support fostering independence, we have our website. It's fosteringindependence.org. And we also have a Facebook page and stuff. And so right now we are looking for active mentors, somebody that can be partnered one-on-one with one of our kids. Yeah. And just pick them up once a month, take them to the park, take them to go eat, just do anything. And just being another supportive, constant person in our kiddos' lives, because we have expanded a lot since last year as well. I believe last year we had probably like 10 kids, and now we're up to like 16, 17. And we have a lot more. And so we need more mentors. We are actively looking for a male mentor for one of our males. We have one male in our program that's a twin, and he's looking for someone that is a good, godly, man that he can, rely on, because he doesn't have, that figure. And so we're looking for those. And we also, if you're like cleaning out your closet and you have clothes, women's, men's, children, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is set it on your front porch, and we'll come pick it up for you. And we take it to clothing exchange, and we, turn that in. And our girls that come in with absolutely no clothes are able to, go pick out some clothes and, shop. And so both of those would be definitely something that we're, looking for, and reaching out for. If that's something that you have, just, DM us on our Facebook page, or even on our, website. Just, contact us, and just all you have to do, you don't even have to talk to us. You can just set it on your front porch, set it on your garage, and that's what I do. I come and pick it up.
Come pick it up. That's right. What do you think, as we're kind of closing this conversation, what do you think you are most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of my growth. I don't like to give myself a lot of credit a lot of the time, but I have truly, truly have come a long way. And I'm so proud of the woman I'm becoming, the mom I'm becoming, and even just that mentor that I've becoming, and being that kid, being that person for a kid that Amber was for me. I think that's what makes me, so proud, that I'm able to turn, a situation that I wasn't doing, very good, into somewhere where I'm excelling and I'm thriving and I'm learning constantly, and I'm also growing constantly in this job. I'm learning different things about myself and different things about other kids. And so I think probably just my growth overall. I'm just so proud that I was able, to have the people behind me to support me in my growth, and not, be one of those kids that fall off the radar and just, fumble and just go so low in life where I feel like I can't get back up. I think that's probably my biggest thing, that I'm just proud that I was able to get out of that rut, because I didn't think that I ever would. I thought that I would probably be like that forever. And so I'm very thankful that I'm not. I'm stable and I'm happy and I'm healthy. And so that's probably,
Wow. Man, Jazlyn, I'm so glad you came. And, you know, there's a lot of kiddos out there that have your experience, but so many like of the people in general, they don't really know what it's like to age out of foster care and not have anybody, and really have somebody make an impact in your life. You know, it's just, man, it's just,
I'm very thankful.
It's powerful. Yeah.
Yep,
It's very powerful.
And if any kids or, that have aged out of foster care, or even in the process, like you're 17 at a placement, about to age out, and you come across, this podcast, reach out to us. We'd love to get to know you, just to see if you would, be a part of our program or be a great fit. We'd love to hear and meet you. And so if you are in the process of aging out, or you're about to age out, or maybe you've already aged out and you're under 21 and you're struggling and you feel like you're in this like rut, contact us. We'd love to get you out of that rut.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for just being open and honest. And I really thank you for the work you're doing with Amber. I mean, y'all's program is near and dear to my heart. And so I love the fact that you're able to help other kiddos that are in that were in your situation, really change and grow and be successful. That's just so stinking powerful. So you guys go to fosteringindependence.org, check them out, check out their Facebook page. They're doing some really important work. And so I'm just thankful for you and the work that you're doing, and the personal growth that you've had. It just makes me so proud to see where you were, a year ago to today. I mean, it's amazing. And so I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe and like the episode, comment where you're listening from, and thank you so much for being open and willing to listen to these stories. They're important, and a lot of the kiddos they're not seen, and so check out Fostering Independence, or check out there's got to be, wherever you're listening, there's a program that's helping kiddos that are aging out of foster care. Guys, we do placement packages. We do placement packages for the kiddos that are coming into Amber's program. We do placement packages all over the Texas Panhandle, and we deliver them all over. They cost us about $430 a piece, and so in order to do that, we need support. It takes funds, it takes items and things like that. So you can go to our website, panhandleorphan.org/donation. You can set up a monthly gift. $100 gives us all the clothes we need for one placement package. $50 buys us a case of diapers, and $10 buys us an outfit each month. And so we need your help to continue to grow. There's about 600 kids that come into care in the 26 counties in a given year. And our long-term goal is to provide a placement package for every single one of them. But it takes a lot to get there. Last year we did 161. We hope to do 250 this year, and then continue to grow that every year. But it takes a village. Just like it took a village for Jazlyn to get to where she's at today, it takes a village for us to be able to help the families that the kiddos that are coming into care. And so please just consider going to our website and checking that out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks, Jazlyn.
Thank you.